All right, hold on to your hats. He's next. If past performance is any indication, it's going to get a little wild here in a couple minutes. I've known Frog for almost 60 years. We go back to our days in Southwest Philly, sitting on the porch, listening to the game. As has been said many times, his dedication to this cause is just over the top. I just can't imagine being as dedicated and as relentless as he is. And as other speakers have mentioned, I've been inspired. I've learned lessons. Here he is, Mark Frog Carfagno.
So good to see so many faces, the familiar faces. It's going to be tough here for me. I told Joe McFadden to come up here and help me, and he deserted me. Great job. Sorry if I'm a little bit long here, but you know, this stuff has to be said. You know, first of all, as what's name referred to it, Coach Wagner. I wrote something about it, and it's probably why we all fell in love with this guy. I call it the Dick Allen experience. When he came to the plate, it was as if you were at the theater. As he headed toward the batter's backs, a mumbling and bubbling noise erupted into a gigantic roar, some cheering and some booing. Then he would hit the ball. The sound was unexplainable, because he was the only hitter capable of producing it. The ball would shoot off the bat in line drive fashion, then suddenly kick into another gear, disappear into the night as number 15 circled the bases. Now to a standing ovation, and the noise was even louder. Just call it the Dick Allen experience that we wish we could all hear again many more times. Give me a little of that music again, that home run stuff again. So where are you at?
There she is. Oh, what a drive. Over to the prospect side.
Okay, thank you. All right, you gotta prepare stuff, but these are just little bullet points. Okay, so how did I meet this great gentleman? In 1975, and of course we were all fans. In 1964, that's why I fell in love with him. Part of that last thing I just read. So in 1975, he returned to Philadelphia as a member of the Phillies, and he didn't want to come back here to Philadelphia because first of all, he was traded to Atlanta by the White Sox, and he wanted to go down south again. And he also injured his Achilles tendon in 1974 with the Chicago White Sox. But the Phillies came banging on his door because they wanted help. They knew they were close. They had Mike Schmidt, Greg Luzinski, Larry Boa, but they wanted Dick Allen in that lineup. They wanted Dick Allen in that lineup to protect them other hitters, to protect them. And he told Rudy Carpenter and Mike Schmidt and Larry Boa and Richie Ashburn, who went off to his farm in Percy and says, please come back. And he said, I can't, my leg is bad. And they said, listen, please try, and no one will know about your injury. No one will know about your injury. No one will know about it. So he took some BP at home, probably in his barn, which he didn't care where he hit. Dick was very unusual. And finally, after a couple of days, he said, all right, I come back. And here's how I got, when you know what kind of person this is. Again, now he has a press conference in May when they signed him in 1975 when Michael DiMuzio is here somewhere. Where you at, Michael? You can acknowledge all this stuff. When he came back in 1975, they go upstairs. I think them press conferences, were they on the fourth level, Mike? Back then, with Paul Owens, everybody's seen that picture. Now, however, when you're done the press conferences, you come down, they want a photo shoot. Dick Allen on swinging a bat. You know, he was dressed in his leisure suit back then. However, on his way down to the field, there's a tunnel, the home plate tunnel. So he's walking to the home plate tunnel. He's got a ton of media around him, and he says to them, and Larry Shank was directing him down there. He said, stop right here. He said, I'm going to stop right now. I'm going inside that door, and I don't want nobody else to come inside that door. It's just me. So he walks through the door, and I'm sitting in my locker, and I'm not sure if Mike was there or not. And I'm sitting in my locker, and I see him walk by. I did not know who he was. And he walks right past my locker room. Then he goes into the equipment room, and he goes to see one man. One man he went to see, Pete Sierra. Nobody knows who Petey is. Petey was the trainer in 1960 when Dick came up in 60, when he first started in the minor leagues. When Dick went down south, and they wouldn't allow him in these places. And he took care of Dick Allen. He took care of him. Again, never, ever forgetting the little people. He gave him a big hug and a kiss. I said, man, this guy's real. Look at what he did. So now he joins us. Now he does put on the uniform eventually. Everyone remembers that big night when he came back. Standing ovation. Standing ovation. Man, they booed out of Philadelphia. They welcomed back with open arms, which was tremendous because they knew what a great player he was. Unfortunately, he had to leave in 1969. So he finds out later on, I guess through Petey, I'm sitting in my locker one time, and he comes up to me, taps me on the shoulder. He says, I understand that you lost both your parents at a pretty young age. I said, yeah, but what does that have to do with it? Yeah. I said, he says, listen, he goes, anything you need, don't be afraid to ask. Because if you do, don't ask, I'm going to whoop your butt. So back then, going to the Jersey Shore was a big thing. And sometimes I'm financially strapped. So when the team was away on a Friday afternoon, I'd look into my locker, there'd be a $100 bill, a $200, another $100 bill. They were left by Dick. Dick took me after that, he took me into his home, meet all his children, and not only me, this gentleman right here, Dennis Millard, he took him off the street of North Philadelphia, took him off the streets. He saved his life. Tell right, Dennis. You tell me if that's a bad person. You tell me, Tommy. Yeah. I'm sorry, but we're going to get to the point of this whole thing. Oh boy. Let me try, maybe I can judge some of these things. Like I said, I went up to his farm. I stayed there a couple nights. Sometimes Mike was up there with me. Gary Tinney, God bless his soul. There's his sister right there. God. Then spring training, he became an instructor for the Phillies, and that's when I really got, to actually hang around with him a whole lot. He actually stayed in the same, God, Mike, I don't know what that hotel was back there, and then the Quality Inn maybe, or something right there, right on. We stayed near the stadium. Some guys opted with the money to go stay on the beach, but not me and you, Mike. We were the poor guys from Southwest. So we stayed near. We stayed right near the complex, so we could actually walk to work. So one day, Dick was staying. For some reason, I don't know why I got mixed up because I had more people coming in. We were in the same room a couple nights. I think wanted Bill Gargano back there. Billy Gargano said they would Dick just for a couple nights. All these rooms straighten out. 200, 500 players coming in. Problem. So on TV one night, I'll never forget this. He has a meatball sandwich, right? And he puts it on the lampshade. This is probably 1986 or 87. I said, what the heck are you doing putting a meatball sandwich on a lampshade? He said, I'm heating it up. Because that's the way it was in 1960, when they wouldn't allow me to go into restaurants. And Pete Searer brought the food back. And I had to heat it up that way. Wow. Wow, got that far. That's pretty good. Okay, and we all know about, and this is the crazy part here. He was on the Raiders. That's why we're here. We're trying to get him the Hall of Fame and the injustice. Joe McFadden, we're going to need your hands pretty soon again. Here's the injustice. He was on a ballot from 1982, the Raiders ballot, from 1982 to 1987, from 1997, 15 years. It was in 1982 I started writing letters, but very quietly because Dick didn't want nobody pushing for him. And then after maybe 6 or 7 years, he didn't get much love from the Raiders because they never voted for him. He never spoke to them, and so the public knew that he wasn't going to get the votes. I knew he wasn't going to get the votes from them. But here's one thing they did have. To stay on that ballot, a player needed a certain percentage. Those Raiders, they knew he was a great player. So they gave him just enough percentage to stay on that ballot for 15 years so he could move to the Veterans Committee, to have the Veterans Committee in. Because if they voted him in, they would look like hypocrites. So now you move him to the Veterans Committee. Joe McFadden, please. Here's all this history from the thing. And I'm reading all this stuff. And you know what? After I read this all last night, I threw it out and I wrote bullet points right here because here's the words that was amused. How disorganized this Veterans Committee is. They change like the wind. So I'm just going to read one word or similar words, and here's the words that I use. Sentences from whatever that's 10 pages of literature about the Veterans Committee, right? Okay, here we go. Voting was inaccurate. Changes to the format were made. They would look to get more writers and broadcasters in than writers in Don't Aim. Then they dumped the format. They introduced a new ballot. Revamped again. That's twice they said it. Then they decided they're going to put managers and umpires in with special committees. Then they revamped again. This is in this piece. Revamped again. Dumped all candidates into one category. All into one category. Revamped. So I went on, I looked up revamped. You know how many terms there are for revamped? I'll read you the synonyms. I got about 10 of them. Here's what revamped means. Alter, change, make over, modify, recast, redo, refashion, remake, renovate. What the hell are they doing over there? Come on, man. So then we get serious. And this is when the good stuff comes. Well, when the good and the bad stuff comes. Probably, let's see what it was in 2013, right? When I got a phone call from very quiet Richard Allen II. Richard Allen, Dickie Allen, we all call him Doobie, for those who know him. But for today, we'll call him Richard Jr., because that's what he likes to be called. He calls me, like I said, women all know. He's so quiet and soft-spoken. He's a spitting image of his father right there. Hold up that picture there, Joey. That's the way little Doobie is. And Doobie would be here right now, but he's up there because his father's not feeling too well. And that's why we got to make this happen. Okay. He calls me on the phone. He says, Frog, enough is enough. I said, Doobie, what's Doobie? I want to call him Doobie. I said, Doobie, what's up? He said, to yell at Trey. Trey was Dick's grandson. He's a pretty good athlete, baseball and basketball. He says they're calling him the N-word. They're saying you're just like your effing grandfather. They're calling him names. And he goes, enough's enough. And then he says to me, I was looking at the writer's ballot and the Veterans Committee ballot, and the percentages for the Veterans Committee ballot weren't too good either. I'll give you the percentages they read to me, and I looked them up. He's correct. 16%, 15%, 13.4%, 9.9%, 10.9. Now, when you need 75%, that's a hell of a raise from 75. So, the point is, they're saying that these kids are saying that Dick Allen's grandson, I know I'm going off base here, is going up to his son. Dick Allen's grandson is going up to his father, Richard, and saying, Dad, why are they saying them bad, nasty words about Grandpa? They said, yeah, he was a great player, but he wasn't a nice man. And this is what he said to me. He said, Frog, you know all that is false. You know what a nice man he is. And most of these people here would know. There's a guy right there who knows. Mike DiMuzio knows. Tommy DeFelice knows. They all know what it said and written is wrong. So he goes without reputation. Goes on that reputation. Drink some water, right, Frog? Drink some water. I'm going to replace it with this stuff. Yeah, so, man, I'll tell you. I'm sorry, man. This has to be said, because the point is that this guy is not. What's going on now is all these roadblocks. All these roadblocks, like I referred to everything being changed, revamped, and stuff like that. So now let's fast forward to. So when Doobie asked me to help him, I said, all right, Doobie, I'm in. You know, what do you want me to do? And he said, well, I got a little bit of Facebook page, and maybe we could start from there. So this was 2013. And I called Joe up, and Joe said, all right, help. Joe Ferry over here, the PR guy, where's he hiding? He said, he never met the man in his life, never met him, and volunteered all services, going on year 7. Going on year 7. So, for about a year, this is 2013, for about a year, nothing was going on, not really much, wasn't getting much. Wasn't getting any feedback, we wrote a couple of letters and stuff like that. And then, wow, something happened. Our good friend Ted Solari from the Daily News, who's a good Big Allen supporter, knows who I work for Ted is probably referred to, said, Frog, you know that on Wednesday night, that math, civics, and science, which is a public powerhouse basketball team, for those of you who don't know, will take on our St. John Newman Regional Academy in Williamsport, PA, featuring Dick Allen III, Richard Allen III. That team was 30-0. So Ted said, call Tom Mahan. Tom Mahan's with the Daily News. He wrote a column called High and Inside. Now, the Daily News is a tabloid, so naturally when us being sports fans, everybody, we open from the back page. We open from the back page. So when you look at the back page, the first thing you see is High and Inside. Sure enough, Tom Mahan puts it in there. And he says, tomorrow night, St. John Newman Region, MCNS will play St. John Newman Regional Academy, featuring Dick Allen, Richard Allen III, whose grandfather, former Fells slugger Dick Allen, also was an All-American basketball player, 2-time state champion at Wampum High School, whose son, Richard Allen Jr., is starting a campaign along with Mark Carfagno, and they have this Facebook page. You know, and that's basically what it said. That's basically what it said. Well, believe me when I tell you, people either read that article in the paper, or they read it online, which they do now, yes, the newspaper going back. When I tell you, first of all, in that Facebook group, there was about 54 people. My phone exploded, cell phone exploded, computer exploded. Now there's about 5,000 people. I got an email list of 160 people. And I'll be honest with you, I bet I've seen 30 of them face to face, all volunteering to trying to get this guy in the Hall of Fame. What a terrific thing. How about a shout out to them people who are helping out? Just say who are watching this on Facebook. How about a shout out to them people? Wow. Wow. So that's how it all started. So I'm still reluctant. I'm reluctant to help Dick Allen. He wants to come out publicly and campaign. He won't campaign for himself, but he wants to make a public campaign. So finally I said to him, I said, Doobie, I said, you ever see your father play at Connie Mack Stadium? He said, I do, but one thing I remember. I vaguely remember one thing. My older sister, Terry, God rest her soul, who was shot and killed years ago, God rest her soul, said, Mama, dear Mom, why are they booing Daddy like that? Why are they saying those horrible words? I was there, I heard him. I heard him in 1960. You heard him. Boo you effing this, boo that, boo this. You heard him. And then like Judge Weiner said, he hit one over that left field roof, and they all stand up. Hypocrites. Hypocrites. But if we told that story, how am I going to say no? I said, do me all in. And that's why I went all in. And then I started getting letters. I got testimonials. And, you know, our efforts were pretty good. Because from going from 16% right there, it elevated up to 68.75 when in 2014 he missed by one vote. One vote which was politically orchestrated. For him not to get in the Hall of Fame. Now I'm going to tell you why that was orchestrated. Because I saw what happened with my own two eyes. I saw with my eye, and there was a switch. The voter got switched. Bob Watson called him sick. And he was sick because I talked to former GM Eddie Wade, who's a dear good friend of mine, and a dear good friend of Mike Music, and some people around here who said he was sick from. Or he would have voted for Dick, because he was going to vote for Dick. We knew who all the votes were. We had connections. He had 12 votes. But then Jerry Dombrowski, who was one of the board members, current White Sox owner, slipped Dave Dombrowski in there as a voter. Slips Dave Dombrowski in there as a voter. Slips him in there. And guess what? Dick Allen misses by one vote. So 45 minutes after the vote was announced in San Diego, I'm sitting beside Dickie. And he said, 45 minutes, you go online to Chicago Tribune. It says, Jerry Reinsdorf upset about ex-Sox not being inducted into the Hall of Fame. He proceeded to name Jim Cott, Vinny Minoso, and Billy Pierce. The writer said, what about Dick Allen? He said, Dick Allen had a checkered career. And if I was a voter, I wouldn't have voted for him either. There is a man, he owns, first of all, he's on the board of governors. Second of all, he bought the White Sox in the 80s. If Dick Allen wasn't there, there would be no White Sox because the old general manager, Roland Heenan, told me personally on the phone, Mark, that man saved our franchise. We were moving to Seattle, St. Pete. We were out of here. In 1971, before he arrived, they might have drew 500,000 people. When Dick Allen left in 1974, there were over 2 million people. They didn't move. They're still here today. Right? Then they say, Dennis was out there. He took Dennis out there in Chicago with him. So you tell me that that's not politics. Because here's what I'm going to tell you. Here's how I know why now. This is very unusual. Now, here am I, Joe Fan. I'm Joe Fan. I get a call. I get an email from the new president of the National Baseball Hall of Fame. His name is Jeff Iverson. His name is Tim Meade. I'm very sorry. Now, Tim Meade must be a smart man because he worked public relations for 40 years with the California or LA Angels, whatever they call them now. Tim Meade gave me his cell phone number. He said, Mark, I would like you to have you call me. I said, why does this guy want me to call me when the other former president, if you sent him an email, he would never respond, he'd have another party respond. I said, wow. So he said to me, I said, I dialed his number. I said, Mark? I said, yes. He said, Mark, I just want to tell you one thing. I just want to tell you one thing. What happened in 2014, it was a mess. What happened in 2014, I will guarantee you, will not happen again. Will not happen again. So will not happen again. So you know what he's saying? He's saying, they practically told him, but he can't say it. Dick Allen got screwed, but he's not going to get screwed next time. So now we're close to Cooperstown. He misses by one vote. Now we get here's where all the hoops come in again. They tell him in 2014, after he misses by one vote, he'll be eligible again in 2017. Then all of a sudden, they decide to add more eras. So, to add more eras, they bumped the Allen now back to 2020. After telling this man in 2014 that he'd be eligible, not only Dick Allen, there's three other candidates. Maury Wills, Jim Cott, Tony Oliva. They're telling them the same story. Now, when they told these guys in 2014, they were in their 70s, Dick was in his late 60s. Now these gentlemen are 80s, they're still making them wait. Now because of the coronavirus, they're saying we cannot have a vote. We cannot have a vote. When every other, there's a whole country, the world is operating virtually. You mean to tell me you're going to make these men wait another year, 2021, so that's 7 years, and if they got inducted, if they officially get voted in, their induction will take place in July of 2022. So from 2014 to 2022, that's 8 years. That's 8 years. You know, too long. These men may not be around. Now let me tell you, one big advocate of this campaign is, and God bless him for speaking up. God bless him. I got a note that I wrote to him for years. I got it in my safe and nobody's going to see it until later on. Mike Fritz never, ever supported anyone for the Hall of Fame. Never. He might have made one comment. He said, reinstate Pete Rose. Give him a chance. But he never, ever supported anyone for the Hall of Fame. And when I heard in 2014 that comment, that I got upset. So anyway, I wrote Mike Schmidt a letter. That I gave to him in 2014, thinking he would get it after one of the PR directors from the Phillies told me that it's unethical to support one of your own people. Unethical to support one of your own people. Was it unethical to support Richie Ashburn? Is that unethical? They supported him. The gentleman told me, nah, the city had something to do with that. No. He didn't know that I knew the guy who ran the campaign. What that guy did was, he told Larry Shank he wanted to set up a petition stand inside of the concourse level at Veterans Stadium. Mike knows all about this too. And Larry Shank told him no. So he went one step higher. He wrote Bill Giles a letter and told him, your PR guy told me no. If you don't let me set up, I'm going to set up outside and tell him you're not supporting this. Guess what? He got a phone call from Bill Giles. That man was in the stadium a couple days later, and he had the premium location, Mike DeMuzio will tell you, right behind home plate in the 200 level, near the doors of the executive office, where you walk right inside, and walk to the right and go see my good friend Mike DeMuzio. The premier spot right there. And yet they don't do nothing for Dick Allen. Yes, they retired his number. God bless them, they did that. Hey, thank you for retiring his number. Hopefully they get behind him a little bit more now. I don't see many of them here today, do you? Sorry, I shouldn't say that, but I see the ones that care about him here. I see the ones that care. I see the ones that care about him. I see the ones that care. So, I guess in closing, as I said before, that the voting, they vote on every other award. They vote on the Frick Award, every other award with the Hall of Fame or the writers, MLB or Hall of Fame has been voted on virtually. They have been voted on virtually. I got a phone call from Paul Hagan. Remember him, the beat writer for the Phillies? He said, Fine, I don't want to make you feel bad, but we just voted in a conference call for the Frick Award. Or the Stick Award. The Frick Award is for the announcers, and I think the Stick Award is for the writers. I'm not sure. But they voted virtually. They voted virtually for that one, and they voted virtually. Insult to injury, the vote is supposed to be in December 6th of this year. It's going to be December 6th of this year at the baseball winter meetings. To add insult to injury, to hold the winter meeting virtually. But yet they can't have a vote of 16 people? Are you kidding me? And also you can vote. They're going to have the writers, they're going to have their big day. They're going to vote, and they're going to have their big day. And most of them guys have no shot in getting in the Hall of Fame. None. Maybe a couple of them. And then players run from the upper 30s to mid 40s to late 40s, maybe some in their 50s like Barry Bonds. And most of them have no shot in the Hall of Fame. Yet here's four people on the doorstep of Cooperstown. One guy with 11 votes, one short. They're all right there. And you're not going to vote for them? Are you crazy? These people may die. Are you listening out there in Cooperstown? Are you over there? Unfair! Now you want to talk about race? Here's something for you. Joe McFadden, please. Joe McFadden, just to prove a point. That how evil people could be. I'm going to show you right now. Graham Womack in the Sporting News. Look at this headline if you want to get a close-up. There's no cameras here. Black major league players get little Hall of Fame help from the Veterans Committee. You know what reads in that article? Since the inception of the Veterans Committee, 1936, what's that, 84 years ago? They never elected until Reinsdorf put a backdoor move. They never elected, it says it right here in this article, not one African-American player who played their entire career in the major leagues. Not one, zero. What's wrong with being politically correct? Black Lives Matter? No, not them. But you know what Jerry Reinsdorf did? You know what he did? You know what he did so he couldn't make that argument? He put that new area in there in 2017 or 18, and he had a special vote, and he put Harold Baines in there, who's undeserved, and he put Lee Smith in there, two black guys. But that still doesn't make it right, because some other guys are still deservable. Veda Pinton, Tony Oliva, he's Hispanic, doesn't matter, they're men of color. They don't vote men of color in, only a few. It's wrong! It's wrong, ain't racist. It says it right in there. Read the article. Does the MLB, the Veterans Committee, have a racial problem? And the guy says maybe. That's not me, he wrote it. They wrote it. It's wrong. See the backdoor play they played? That was the best backdoor play since Pete Carell was a coach at Princeton. How about that? I'm telling you, that was a backdoor move. So they couldn't put that, so they couldn't no longer. They knew that was an argument by that. Right there. Right there. That's what they care. They don't care. They don't care about old men. They want to kick them down. It's not right. That's why I'm here. Honest emotion. I spend every freaking hour trying to do the right thing. And this poor lady runs life. She puts out it all. All I want to do is right a major wrong. That's all I want to do. I want to right a major wrong, and it's wrong. I'm telling you it's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. It ain't discrimination. It ain't discrimination. It is. There's no attorney, there's nobody here. But I have an attorney
who will talk about hate discrimination. But there's nobody media here. That's okay. You're here. That's the most important thing. And I want you to know what's going on. That's what's important. As long as you know what's going on. It's all political. And they can't let that guy in there. And yes, color has something to do with it. I don't care what anybody says. And yet, them other guys, they're in their 80 years old. Disrespect for the elderly. What disrespect for the elderly? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And how about with the racism he faced at Connie Mack Stadium? Let me finish with this one, bro. There's a man that hit him over the shoulder with a bat. Frank Thomas, everybody knows that story. If you hit somebody over the back now, you'd go to jail and be assaulted. You know what that guy was when he hit him with the bat? He was a hero for hitting a black man over the shoulder with a bat. They made him a hero. They made him a hero. Then they booed it down because they kept it down and got rid of the white guy. That's the way they looked at it. And the man had a target on his back ever since. But there's no target anymore. You know what the target is now? To get that man in Cooperstown. To get that man in Cooperstown. That's my target. That's Joe Ferry's target. That's Mike DeMuzio's target. That's all these people here. The people that know what a real person he is. Matt Will here. Dr. Mike Allen, just recognize you, brother. God bless you. Dr. Mike Whitney. He'll tell you. They'll tell you the story of the falls. It's wrong. It's wrong. So please, get that word out there. I don't know how you can do it, but I'm not going to stop. They think I'm going to stop? No, if you stop, yeah, well, once you give up, you're done. Once you give up, you're done. No, people tell me, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. I have 47 back braces for the people telling me to keep pushing. I'm trying to make a little levity. I'm sorry if I get emotional, but it means so much to me. The man, it's all wrong what they say about him. They don't know anything about him. They don't know the true stories. Dennis Millard, Petey Sarah, Mike DeMuzio, Gary Timoney. Oh, God. Donna Timoney. He'd go up to another tremendous story. He stopped up on his way up 309. Where did your mother live? Where was that street?
River Road.
Well, there's a River Road in Manioc. River, he'd stop there on the way. He stopped there on the way and picked up his meatball sandwich or meatloaf sandwich. And his mother was very funny. Helen Ray, God rest her soul, another tremendous one. Let's see what he did know right here. He'd stop up there a couple times a week. And finally Helen said to him, geez, Dick, I made so many sandwiches for you. Would you hit a damn home run for me? Say that he did. He hit 2 of them. And he didn't tell the press, no. He hit 2 home runs. He hit 2 home runs. He come jogging my home plate, Gary was there, and he winked at us. You know, he said, I got 1. Then he hit another one, well, he is. That's the way he comes in. So that's the kind of press he was. Filtering little guys like us. He didn't care about them big people up there. He didn't care, and that's probably why he gets the negative press that he does. He never catered to them. He was an outspoken black man. Now you're outspoken, you're the hero. Not back then. Not back then. Not back then. He what? He hate him? Yeah. They hated his grandfather's house. He stopped there. Dennis Millard, what a terrific story. But anyway, this is the kind of guy he was. Mike DeMuzio can attest. Tommy DeFelice can attest. I don't know if Tommy wants to tell a quick story what he said to his football. I know I've been here a long time. Maybe I give it to Tom, so that's why I get out here real quick. But once again, thank all of you very, very much. And I get tired of waiting. When you work for 38 years trying to do something, trying to right or make it wrong, that's a hell of a long time. I'm not tuning anybody on. I'm just working hard for a cause. Working hard for a cause, and hopefully the word will spread. The word will spread. God bless all of you. Thank you very much. I love each and every one.
Wow.